So a risk assessment is a process which enables the identification of the hazards in the workplace and the evaluation of the risks associated with those hazards, taking into account any existing control measures. So basically, pretty much any hazard that you have in your workplace, it should be assessed, should be risk assessed, and controls should be put in place to prevent incidents, accidents, anybody getting hurt, your property getting damaged, and anything along those lines. Identify what can harm people. Again, as I've mentioned, it can be slippery floor, it can be a cable just sticking out from the laptop, it can be damaged building, it can be contractors working in your premises, building something, fixing something. It can be there is one thing that I should mention. There really is, especially if you own or rent older premises, it could be old wiring. It causes a lot of fire. It causes a lot of fires, and because it is not being checked, it is a requirement to check the wiring every 5 years. And usually what can happen is it's not checked over and over, and the shorts happen, and that's how the fire starts. And you don't even know where it started, and it just goes throughout your premises. So you identify who might be harmed and how. Now, who can be harmed? Of course, first of all, will be your employees. Who else is in there? Are members of public going in there? So if it's a shop, let's say, some customers. Could it be some visitors from another site, or maybe just some visitors coming to visit you? So you have to explain in the risk assessment who is going to be harmed, who could be harmed. You evaluate those risks and controls to reduce the risk. So this is what I have mentioned earlier, going by hierarchy of controls. How do you do it? How are you going to remove that risk or mitigate it? And record your findings. So recording your findings, this is not only just to write it down on a piece of paper. Of course, there has to be a certain format, and it has to be updated. It has to be reviewed. So those findings, they have to be also told to your staff via meeting, via email, via face-to-face. It does not really matter how, as long as the staff understand what are they supposed to be doing, so that particular hazard does not affect them. And of course, sign everything and get the staff to sign everything. So the review for the risk assessment should be annually, unless something happens in your workplace. For example, you are building an extension, or you are putting in a new piece of machinery, or you are changing your equipment completely, or so any big change, the risk assessment should be reviewed.